Welcome to Let's Bet. I'm your host, Scott Pritchard. Let's Bet is about sports betting, sides, totals, money lines. I've been betting sports professionally full-time in Las Vegas for 30 years. I'm going to show you how I do it. Next week, big announcement on the Vegas Video Network involving my co-host, Jacob Cannon. Welcome.
And I think the big announcement says that I am not guilty on all counts.
I'll be pulling for you on that one. We'll be checking back with Jacob a little bit later on in the show. To reach out to us a couple of ways. One, email us at letsbet@vegasvideonetwork.com. That's letsbet@vegasvideonetwork.com. Another way to reach out to us, the listener line, toll-free, 866-966-4599. That's 866-966-4599. Now let's get started. We're approaching the All Star Game. Major League Baseball, Tuesday night, April 12th. No, I think it's July 12th. This coming Tuesday, American League meets the National League, Chase Field, Arizona. Is there value in betting this game? I say no. I generally do not bet the All-Star Game. In my mind, it's nothing more than an exhibition game. Now, I'm not opposed to betting exhibition football when you have first-teamers playing third-teamers and one coach trying to win, another coach doesn't care to win. But in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, you have the two managers from last year's World Series teams, the Giants and the Texas Rangers. These two managers will be holding a press conference on Monday morning to announce the starters and, more importantly, to announce the starting pitching and the pitching rotation throughout this game. At that time, the sports books in the islands as well as Las Vegas will be posting the side and the total for this game. Now, generally, I do not bet this game, but obviously if the total hypothetically is 7.5 over a quarter, if I can certainly find over 7.5 minus 0.5 or minus 10 where I'm getting 15, 20 cents the best of it, I'll certainly step out and make a play. Now the All-Star Game in and of itself, we're just past the halfway point of the season. Keep in mind, 6 months, over 2,400 games. My personal opinion, I'm very disappointed in the fact that it used to be an exhibition game. It still is, but now, based on what happened a few short years ago, they're saying the winner of this game, that league, will host the World Series, which to me is a big fat crock. One has nothing to do with the other. So just stay with me on this for a second. What they're basically saying is an exhibition game in July. The winner hosts the World Series. But to me, it's illogical. Imagine if, hypothetically, a National League team gets into the World Series as a wild card team and they have 10 to 12 fewer wins than the American League team. Well, the National League team will host the World Series. They're doing this because a few years ago in the All-Star Game, no one cared who won. They ran out of pitchers. And so now they want to step up the ante and make it a little bit more of a serious exhibition game, if you will. So just, again, as far as betting the All-Star Game, buyer beware, FYI, be alert, you're on your own. So before we get to Let's Bet answers your questions, we're going to take a station ID break. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Al, man. Is that how you get them to do that all the time? Just sit there and be an ass. Is that it? Hey, I'm Al. Hey, I'm Al Mancini at Top of the Food Chain. You are watching the Vegas Video Network. We got big forks, big spoons. I got a big mouth. I got no guests.
Welcome back to Let's Bet. I'm your host, Scott Pritchard. It's time now for Let's Bet answers your questions. This is a part of the show where we take questions off the email, letsbet@vegasvideonetwork.com, or the listener line, 866-966-4599. Jacob, what do we have?
Well, today the live chat room is just going crazy in here. A couple of great questions in here. And forgive me because I don't know how to pronounce your name here on the chat. Binciong wants to say, are you guys going to talk about being able to bet on non-sports such as the World Series of Poker events? What's your opinion on that, Scott?
Well, the World Series of Poker takes place the very first part of June. It goes 6 to 7 weeks right into July. And I know once they get down to the final table, you can certainly step out and make bets, make plays. Me personally, as a professional sports bettor, unless I'm in the world of professional poker playing, I would consider stepping up and betting. But again, being a professional, I don't venture out onto anything that I'm not well versed in. I do know that from an entertainment standpoint, it's good fodder. It's good PR. It's exciting to watch these World series. Poker players compete for big, big money. It's very, very exciting. But as far as a professional sports bettor to step up and bet, not my cup of tea. But it is exciting to watch. What else do we have there, question boy?
Another great, and that'd be question man to you, big boy. Otherwise, I'll see you after the show.
Nice.
BINCIONG is another great question here. He's about the impact of Cantor taking over so many sportsbook. Less competition usually means less ability to find sharp lines. So how's that going to impact the sports betting world?
Cantor Gaming is great. It's good. They're sophisticated. They take big action. That's the good news. The bad news is, as a professional sports bettor, I want options. I want to have a myriad of different outs, different sports books that I can go to, because different outs mean I can find better numbers. Independent sports books, there are just a select few independent sports books available. So I think Cantor Gaming, the future of this town, I mean, it's basically going to turn into a monopoly to where Cantor Gaming controls everything in the sports booking business. Now, again, ideally, I want options. I want to be able to contact the islands. I want a number of different venues that I can bet in Las Vegas. Cantor Gaming is great, but again, it hurts me because I want to be able to bet at as many places as I possibly can.
Is there anything to be done about that?
Where's that voice coming from?
I don't know. It's like the ghost of Christmas past or something.
I try not to worry about anything that I don't personally have control over. I don't have any control if Cantor is going to run the entire town, but I just be proactive, think outside of the box, and come up, be creative, try to gain and get through contacts, through agents, bookies, if you will, and try to find someone that will allow you to get down that will either mirror that Cantor Gaming's lines or preferably give you a half point, point and a half, the best of it.
Sounds good. How many independent sports books are here locally in Las Vegas?
Well, I can remember at one time, of course, I'm sure it has changed. I know Leroy's, for instance, across the state of Nevada, 70 locations. Now, you talk about the Mirage, they have 10 different sports books. Station Properties, 10 different locations. So one sharp sports bettor at one location would change the number universally across town. Now, independent sports books, there are a select few left. I prefer the Wynn. Now, Venetian just got bought out by or taken over by Cantor Gaming, so that's one less independent sports book to worry about. I also kind of like Stratosphere, but they are not sharp player friendly. You will get tossed. Don't ask me how I know. But they basically have 3 locations. It's interesting. At the Stratosphere, I've been tossed. At Arizona Charlie's on Charleston, I've been tossed. But at Arizona Charlie's on Boulder Highway, they tend to be a little more receptive, which is odd because the eye in the sky covers all 3 properties. But yeah, again, independent sports books are becoming fewer and far between.
2 more questions here. One last live chat question. Again, BINCIONG is blowing it up here. Why do you think casinos are concerned or afraid to run their own sports book?
I think more than anything else, the win percentage for the sports books or for a player basically is 52.4%. The gaming industry overall has become very, very corporate. More so probably in sports betting because the handle, the hold for the sports book is considerably more challenging than, say, it is for table games. But the sports books, their concern is the sportsbook supervisor. To a certain degree, I don't blame the sportsbook supervisor because it's all about the bottom line. He can't really venture out and give you a value play or let you bet it for the limit, or, I mean, they'll not let you double dip or double pop a game. They'll simply move the number and ask you, hey, would you like it at this number? It's like, no, not in a million years. So I think that has part of it. The corporate sportsbook manager, nothing good can happen from him allowing you to bet on a consistent long-term basis if you're betting limits and you're always getting a half point, point and a half, the best of it. So they tend to play it extremely close to the vest. Do we have anything else, Jacob?
Last question here is from Todd in Portland, Oregon. It's very interesting because it ties into what you just said. Todd says that to be a professional sports bettor, you have to have a win rate of around 53%, which you just talked about. Todd, so far this baseball season, is at 65% win percentage, and he's barely ahead. So he wants to know, does he need to bet on more dogs or increase his bets?
Todd, it's a fair question, but please keep in mind, my friend, that win percentage is meaningless when it comes to baseball betting because win percentage is applicable in college and pro football, college and pro basketball when you're basically laying 10 cents on either side on the total or the side. But in baseball, it's not based on a point spread or a run spread, if you will. It's not like, okay, well, the Yankees are a much better team than the Royals, but they're favored by 3.5 runs. That's not the case. It's strictly a money line play. For instance, win percentage, I'll give you an example. If the Yankees with CC Sabathia playing the Kansas City Royals and they're pitching their 5th best pitcher, the Yankees would be hypothetically minus $2. So for easy figuring, let's just say that you could be a 60% handicapper in baseball and go broke. Or you could win 40% of your bets and be rich. The idea is this: if you bet 10 games and you lay minus $2 on each and every play, and you win 6 and lose 4, it means that you hit 60%. So you won $1,000 on each game. That's $6,000 that you won, but you lost 4. Minus 2 to 1 means that you lost $8,000. So you won $6,000, but you lost $8,000, meaning you're minus net $2,000. Take that times 5 groups of 10 bets, you're down $10,000, even though you've hit 60% winners. Now the other side of the coin, if you're on the big fat dogs taking plus 2 to 1 odds. I tend to be a dog player all day, every day. But if you're taking and you're getting plus 2 to 1, 40% winners net you $2,000 per every 10 plays that you make times, So again, the idea is you can make some serious money betting dogs hitting just 40%.
I don't mean to interrupt. We got one last live chat question here coming in from Nate, and we actually had someone in the live chat answer it. At the halfway point of baseball, who is the favorite to win the World Series? Kind of tying back to your question that we're at the halfway point of baseball. Last question.
Interesting. I mean, going into April, on paper, the 2 big fat favorites were the Philadelphia Phillies based on their outstanding pitching rotation and the fact that they've obviously done extremely well in the pennants the past 3 years before losing last year to the San Francisco Giants. And the Boston Red Sox, Yankees in the American League, those 2 teams projected to be fighting it out in the American League, even though Texas got through a year ago. And as far as the top level teams, really haven't been that many surprises. The Phillies are still the best team in the National League. Their record justifies that as well. And I don't think the Phillies have peaked. They still haven't hit the ball as well as I think they are capable of, but their pitching once again has been outstanding. So the Phillies would be considered the favorite. I still think it's probably going to be between Boston or the Yankees in the American League. And again, they're battling it out in the American League East. Tampa Bay is trying to keep things close. There has been a surprise team in the American League Central, the Cleveland Indians. Now the White Sox are starting to come on, and of course the Detroit Tigers with their pitching, they've been right there as well. American League West, I think the Texas Rangers probably will win that division. They're starting to play much better baseball. The Seattle Mariners have been a bit of a surprise based on what they did not do 1 year ago. Now that's going to wrap up this edition of Let's Bet. Jacob, do you have any final comments?
Tonight, instead of just chilling out, I'm actually going to go downtown and see the Nancy Ray Guns play. Our friend David Ivey from Pub Crawl is going to be going. You want to go with me?
I'm thinking about it, but I've seen you drive. If I go, please let me take a taxi.
Okay, taxi down and taxi back.
Jacob, once again, great having you with us. I'll be tuning in myself. Something tells me I'll be here as we get dialed in for that big announcement, Vegas Video Network, involving my friend Jacob Cannon. Be sure and tune in. Let's Bet can be heard live every Friday morning, 11 o'clock Las Vegas time. To reach out to us a couple of ways. Email us at letsbet@vegasvideonetwork.com. That's letsbet@vegasvideonetwork.com. The listener line, which again, we get questions from that as well as the emails. The toll-free number is 866-966-4599. That's 866-966-4599. My website is pritchardspicks.com. That's pritchardspicks.com. Also, keep in mind every Friday night, KSHP Radio, AM 1400, all the shows from the Vegas Video Network are syndicated and broadcast on AM 1400 Radio. Check that out. For my friend Jacob Cannon, I'm Scott Pritchard. I'll leave you with the words my first wife left me with in 1993 as she drop-kicked me to the curb for some clown with a real job. Good luck and goodbye.